On the way to the bridal shop, my best friend Chloe sent me a video. There was my fiancé Liam Miller in a nightclub, his eyes locked on several strippers and clearly enthralled. One even trailed her hand suggestively between his legs. Tonight was supposed to be our appointment to choose my wedding dress. No wonder he had claimed a late night at the office. Which club? I texted Chloe. Then I drove straight there. To everyone else, Liam was the quiet, dependable type, a reserved programmer. In our relationship, I was usually the one to take the lead, even in bed. Now I was going to see exactly what kind of wild side this honest man had been hiding. By the time I reached the nightclub, the music was deafening. Chloe stammered when she saw me. Honestly, Audrey, guys, look, it happens. But Liam? I never would have guessed. The man used to blush just talking to a woman. A wave of nausea rolled through me. Then there's no wedding, I said flatly. It wasn't an overreaction. Liam, to me, had never been other men. We were high school sweethearts. Back then, he was unassuming. Most girls even found him nerdy and unattractive. But to me, he was brilliant, kind, and loyal. After graduation, that once awkward nerd quickly climbed the ranks to become an executive at a top tech firm. My friends all envied me, saying I had excellent taste. A guy like your fiancé, rich and faithful? That's practically a unicorn these days. You're so lucky. I couldn't stomach the thought that the man I'd loved for so many years was just like every other jerk out there. Chloe, not wanting to get involved in my personal drama, made an excuse and left. I found a quiet corner and silently watched Liam. Not long after, a song ended. A beautiful girl in sequin thong walked directly off the stage and sat right on Liam's lap. She wrapped her arms around Liam's neck, tilted her head, and whispered something to him. Then, I watched Liam smile, a wide, joyful grin, as he looked at her. My hands shaking, I recorded the whole thing. Perhaps he sensed something. Liam suddenly glanced in my direction. The next second, his expression changed, and he started walking toward me. Audrey, what are you doing here? I sneered. Am I interrupting something? He lowered his head. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have lied to you. I promise you, Skylar and I haven't done anything inappropriate or crossed any lines. I lifted my head, meeting Liam's eyes. Skylar? The stripper who was just sitting on your lap? Before Liam could answer, I continued. You lied to me, refused to go wedding dress shopping, just to watch her dance. If that's not crossing a line, then what would you consider it? A flicker of annoyance crossed Liam's eyes. He rubbed his temples, sighing. I swear, I wasn't planning on doing anything. Liam glanced in Skylar's direction, then said, let's talk somewhere else. With that, Liam didn't wait for my refusal. He simply gestured for me to follow him. I hesitated for a few seconds, but in the end I followed him. My eyebrows lifted when Liam walked into the ice cream shop. I thought you hated ice cream? Tried it once. Wasn't bad. He shrugged. Remembered you liked it. You tried it once with Skylar? A flash of surprise crossed his face. Yeah, but don't read into it. I did her a small favor. She insisted on buying me one as thanks. I laughed. But the laugh turned hollow, and a quiet wave of sadness pulled under it. Sophomore year, I waited in line and bought two. You took one bite and threw yours away. Liam looked blank for a second, then recollection dawned, tinged with a shallow apology. So I didn't appreciate the gesture back then. I remembered fighting with him over it. To me, it was pure disrespect. To him, I was just being difficult. After we sat down in the ice cream shop, I looked straight at Liam. Tell me, I said, my voice deceptively calm. How long have you known that stripper? I was desperate to know what made her so special. What had changed Liam? She's not that kind of woman, really. Liam immediately defended her. Skylar works as a dancer to pay for her college tuition. I offered to sponsor her, but she said she wanted to do it on her own. And she only dances. She never crosses lines with clients. Seeing my silence, he continued. To Skylar, I'm just a regular client. Audrey, I really haven't cheated on you. I scoffed. Hadn't cheated, or just hadn't gotten the chance. She told you she didn't need your help, so why do you keep seeing her? I retorted sarcastically. I decided to come on my own. Skylar doesn't know anything, you shouldn't talk about her like that, he explained. I'd never imagined Liam, the man I'd envisioned a lifetime with, would one day defend another woman right in front of me. It wasn't until Liam's hand touched my cheek that I realized I was crying. I fiercely pulled away, wiping my eyes haphazardly. Liam, I'm not the type to cling on. If you have other feelings, just tell me now, before we're married. Liam grabbed my hand, this time not giving me a chance to pull away. Audrey, I really don't have other feelings, He looked frustrated again. I waited for Liam to continue, but a long time passed and he said nothing more. Taking advantage of Liam's grip loosening slightly, I tugged my hand free. Let's both cool off. Just as I was about to stand up and leave, a female voice came from behind me. Liam, I Snapchatted you but you didn't reply. So this is where you are. As she spoke, Skylar walked up beside us. Hi there. Skylar's vibrant smile momentarily stunned me. By the time I reacted, I'd instinctively replied, hello. Skylar then turned to Liam. Liam, you promised you'd come to dinner tonight. You wouldn't flake on us, would you? Liam looked at me, clearly uncomfortable. Do you have plans tonight, Audrey? Do you want to join us? The more the merrier. Skylar's demeanor was so open, so natural. It seemed she truly saw Liam as just a friend. But that didn't mean he didn't have other thoughts. I picked up my bag and stood. I'll pass. Have fun, you too. With that, I turned and walked away. Under my watchful eye, Liam chose another woman. I don't know how I made it home. The moment I stepped through the door, my two little cats rushed to greet me. I scooped them both into my arms. Feeling their warm, furry bodies, I belatedly registered the sharp ache and suffocating tightness in my chest. I don't know how long I'd been sitting on the couch when my phone rang. It was my mother. The moment I answered, her voice bubbled with excitement. How were the photos? How much longer? I drew a slow breath, holding back the pressure behind my eyes. We didn't take them. Something came up for Liam. He canceled. Mom paused, only slightly thrown. Liam's a busy man, sweetheart. You have to be patient. Did you reschedule? That photographer is impossible to book. If you postpone again, will it still be in time for the wedding? We could always find someone else, I suppose. My mind was a complete mess. Afraid she'd hear the fracture in my voice, I made an excuse and ended the call. I opened my Snapchat conversation with Liam. In the 3 hours since we'd parted ways at the ice cream shop, he'd sent me 2 messages. One asked if I'd gotten home safely. The other said he would give me an explanation. I thought about Liam's hesitation earlier, the way he kept almost saying something. I thought about his repeated assurances that he hadn't done anything to betray me. As I slowly calmed down, a seed of doubt began to grow. Just as I was debating whether to confront Liam, a message from an unknown number arrived with a photo. Though it only showed a forearm, I recognized the mole on Liam's wrist. Glancing at the location tag below the photo, I grabbed my bag and left. The location indicated a private club, not somewhere just anyone could go. With a whirlwind of emotions swirling inside me, I parked my car in the club's lot. Liam had a regular private room there. I stood at the door to the room, took a moment to compose myself, then slowly pushed it open. Are you insane? Do you even remember you're getting married? Hearing that, I instinctively held my breath, stopping my movement. I am insane. The moment I saw Audrey at the club, I regretted it, but what good is regret? I can't control my feelings. What do you mean you can't control it? You just want to have your cake and eat it too. If you've fallen for that girl, then be honest with Audrey. I can't picture my life without Audrey. But Skylar pulls at me. Lately I keep wondering, what if I'd never gotten together with Audrey? Would everything be different? I'm so tired. Skylar makes me feel alive. I listened at the door for a long time. Liam said that I was suitable for him, a habit. He didn't know when, but our love had morphed into something akin to family affection. And Skylar, she made him feel a long-lost joy. When the conversation inside the room shifted to other topics, my hands trembling, I saved the recording. Sitting back in my car, I couldn't hold back my emotions any longer. I sobbed, head buried in the steering wheel, for what felt like an eternity. By the time I finally calmed down, it was past midnight. Another message from Liam had appeared on my phone. He said he'd rescheduled the photography session for 3 days later. He also promised he would absolutely keep his word on everything he told me in the future, and he'd never abandon me again. I drove to my parents' house. They were already asleep. Afraid to make any noise and wake them, I lay on the couch all night. The next morning, when my parents woke up, I told them directly why I'd come home in the middle of the night. I don't want to marry Liam anymore. Please arrange some blind dates for me. My parents were stunned. I didn't want to explain too much, so I simply played the recording for them. Dad hadn't even heard half the story before he exploded. That two-timing bastard. Who does he think he is? Seeing his rage, I kept my voice steady. It's a good thing I found out before the wedding. Dad, I know our family and the Millers have joint ventures. Calling off the engagement will hit the company hard. So I'll do it. Arrange a marriage with someone who can help us through this. I'll marry whoever can secure our family's position. I owed my parents this much. Their unwavering support was the reason I'd lived such a sheltered life all these years. Liam was my choice. But facts proved my judgment was terrible. So, I was willing to accept my family's arrangements and contribute to the company's development. Mom's eyes welled up with tears, her heart aching for me. Dad was silent for a long time before finally saying, his voice hoarse, if the engagement is called off, our family's impact will indeed be greater than the Millers. Since you've decided to break up with Liam, I'll find you a good match. With that, Dad looked up at me. It was then I noticed the tear stains in his eyes too. Audrey, you've grown up so much. It's my fault. I failed to protect you from this. To prevent the Millers from causing further trouble after the engagement was called off, Dad worked quickly, making arrangements and setting a time for me to meet my blind date. Coincidentally, the rescheduled photo shoot with Liam was on the same day. The day before my blind date, Dad informed the Miller family that the engagement was off. Soon after, my phone buzzed with countless calls and messages from Liam and his parents. I didn't reply to any of them, blocking them all in one go. On the day of the blind date, I arrived at the cafe half an hour early. My date had arrived even earlier. After introductions, Noah Sterling and I laid out our situations. We were in the middle of a surprisingly easy conversation when a hand closed around my arm and hauled me to my feet. "Audrey, what are you doing?" I glanced at the unwanted guest beside me. Rubbing the spot he'd gripped, I kept my voice cold. "If your eyes work, you can see I'm on a date." "A date?" Liam's voice cracked, vibrating with disbelief. He looked like he hadn't slept in 2 days. His shirt was wrinkled, his hair a mess, a stark contrast to Noah Sterling, who sat opposite me, composed and impeccably dressed in a charcoal suit. Liam glared at Noah. "Get lost. This is my fiancé." Noah didn't flinch. He took a slow sip of his espresso, then set the cup down with a delicate clink. "Ex-fiancé, from what I understand. Mr. Miller, making a scene in public is hardly the behavior of a top executive." "Audrey," Liam turned back to me, his eyes pleading, ignoring Noah completely. "Your dad called my parents. He said the wedding is off. He said you're looking for replacements. Tell me this is a joke. Tell me you're just angry about the photo shoot." "I'm not angry, Liam," I said, my voice eerily calm. "I'm done." "Because of Skylar? I told you nothing happened. I rescheduled the photos. I was going to make it up to you today." He reached for my hand again, but I stepped back. "I went to the club, Liam," I said softly. He froze. "Which club?" "The private one. The one where you have a membership. I stood outside the door and listened to you tell your friend that I was a habit. That I was suitable. That Skylar makes you feel alive." The color drained from his face so fast he looked like a ghost. "Audrey, you heard that?" "I have the recording," I continued, unyielding. "I played it for my parents. That's why the engagement is off. That's why the partnership is dissolving. You wanted to know what life would be like without me. Congratulations. You're about to find out." Liam opened his mouth, but no sound came out. The realization hit him like a physical blow. The suitable woman, the safe option, had just nuked his entire world. "Please," he whispered, tears welling in his eyes. "Audrey, I was drunk. I was confused. It was just talk. Men talk stupid when they're stressed. You're my life. You've always been my life. If I was your life, you wouldn't have needed a stripper to feel alive," I said. I turned to Noah. "I'm sorry about this. Shall we go somewhere else?" Noah stood up, buttoning his jacket. He was tall, broader than Liam, with a quiet intensity that felt grounding. "My car is outside." As we walked past Liam, he grabbed my arm one last time. "Audrey, don't do this. You can't just throw away 10 years. I looked at his hand on my arm, then up at his face. The face I had loved since I was 16. The face I thought I would wake up to for the rest of my life. "I didn't throw them away, Liam," I said. "You did. You threw them away for a cheap thrill and a sequin thong." I pulled my arm free and walked out into the sunlight. The marriage to Noah Sterling was arranged with terrifying efficiency. The Sterlings were old money. They were in shipping and logistics, a perfect complement to my family's manufacturing business. Noah needed a wife to secure his position as CEO against a hostile board takeover. I needed a husband to stabilize my family's stock prices after the Miller split. It was a business transaction. But Noah was unexpected. "I won't pretend to be in love with you," Noah said on our wedding night. We were in his penthouse, overlooking the city. He poured 2 glasses of wine and handed me one. "But I will respect you. I will be loyal. And I will never make you look foolish." I took the glass. That's a low bar considering my ex. Noah cracked a smile, a rare, genuine thing that crinkled the corners of his eyes. I aimed to exceed expectations. We fell into a rhythm. Noah was busy, often traveling, but he was considerate. He sent flowers not because he was guilty, but because he saw a type I liked. He asked about my day and actually listened. Meanwhile, Liam was spiraling. Chloe kept me updated, despite my protests. "He's drinking every night," she texted. "He got demoted at work. Apparently, the breakup messed with the merger your dad pulled out of. And Skylar moved in with him." I stared at the phone. "Skylar moved in. Of course she did," I muttered. She was the alive part, after all. 1 month into my marriage, I ran into them. I was at a charity gala with Noah. I wore a backless emerald gown that Noah had selected. It hugged every curve, making me feel powerful and dangerous. Liam was there, looking haggard. Skylar was on his arm. She looked out of place, wearing a dress that was too short, too bright, too loud for the conservative crowd. She was laughing loudly at something, drawing judgmental stares from the matrons of high society. When Liam saw me, he stopped dead. His gaze raked over me, hungry and desperate. Audrey, he breathed, stepping forward. Noah's hand tightened possessively on the small of my back. Mr. Miller, Noah said coolly. A pleasure. Is this the dancer? Skylar bristled. I'm his girlfriend. And I'm a student. Right, Noah said, dismissing her with a glance. He looked at Liam. You look tired, Miller. Rough quarter. Audrey, can we talk? Liam asked, ignoring Noah. Just for a minute. I have nothing to say to you, I said. Please, Liam begged. I made a mistake. A huge mistake. He lowered his voice, glancing at Skylar, who was busy taking a selfie with a champagne tower. She's not you. She doesn't get it. She doesn't know how to talk to these people. She doesn't know me. She knows the you that likes lap dances, I said. She's exactly what you wanted, Liam. You wanted fun. You wanted wild. Enjoy it. I don't want wild, he hissed. I want peace. I want home. I want you. You're married, Liam, Noah interjected, his voice hard. Or at least she is. Step back. Liam looked at Noah with pure hatred. She doesn't love you. She's doing this for business. She loves me. She loved you, Noah corrected. Past tense. Now, if you'll excuse us, my wife and I have a waltz to attend to. Noah swept me onto the dance floor. As we turned, I saw Liam watching us, a look of utter devastation on his face. Skylar was tugging at his arm, complaining that she was bored. He yanked his arm away from her, snapping something that made her recoil. I rested my head on Noah's shoulder. You okay? Noah asked softly. I think so, I said. And for the first time I meant it. 3 months later, the news broke. Tech executive involved in DUI crash. Passenger critical. It was Liam. Chloe called me at 2 a.m. Audrey, it's bad. He was driving Skylar home from a party. They were arguing. He hit a guardrail. I sat up in bed, my heart hammering. Beside me, Noah stirred. What is it? Liam, I whispered. He's in the hospital. I didn't want to go. I shouldn't have gone. But 10 years of history is a heavy anchor. Noah drove me. He didn't ask why. He just handed me my coat and started the car. At the hospital, Liam's parents were in the waiting room. His mother, who had once called me a daughter, looked at me with venom. This is your fault, she screamed, lunging at me. Noah stepped in front of me, blocking her path. If you hadn't left him, he wouldn't have been with that trashy girl. He wouldn't have been drinking. Mrs. Miller, Noah said calmly, your son is a grown man. His choices are his own. A doctor came out. Liam had a broken leg and a concussion. He would survive. Skylar was in a coma. I went to Liam's room. He was awake, staring at the ceiling. When he saw me, he started to cry. Ugly ragged sobs. I killed her, he choked out. I didn't mean to. She wouldn't stop talking. She kept asking for money. She wanted a new car. She said I was boring. She said I wasn't as rich as she thought. I stood by the bed, feeling a strange detachment. I'm sorry, Liam. Take me back, he pleaded, reaching for me with his uninjured hand. Audrey, save me. I'll do anything. I'll sign a prenup. I'll quit my job. Just take me back. I can't do this without you. I looked at him, broken, pathetic, blaming everyone but himself. You don't need saving, Liam, I said. You need to grow up. Skylar is fighting for her life because of you. And you're lying here asking for your ex-fiancé to fix it. I love you. No, I said firmly. You love how I made you feel. You love that I fixed everything. That I made you look good. That I carried the mental load, so you could play the quiet genius. I took a deep breath. I'm not your mother. And I'm not your savior. I'm Noah's wife. I turned to leave. He doesn't love you. Liam screamed after me. He's using you for the merger. I stopped at the door. Maybe. But he respects me. And he knows when to stop drinking. Liam's words gnawed at me. He's using you. I knew the marriage was a deal. I accepted that. But lately things had shifted. Noah came home early to cook dinner. We spent weekends at his family's estate, reading by the fire. We laughed. Was I falling for him? One evening, I found a folder on Noah's desk. It was labeled Miller Acquisition. I opened it. Inside were detailed plans to buy out Liam's company, now failing due to the scandal, for pennies on the dollar. And there were photos. Photos of Liam at the club. Photos of Skylar. Photos taken before Chloe had sent me that video. My blood ran cold. Noah walked in, drying his hair with a towel. He stopped when he saw the folder. Audrey, he said, his voice level. You knew, I said, holding up the photos. You knew Liam was cheating before I did. Did you send the video to Chloe? Noah didn't deny it. He walked over to the minibar and poured a drink. I didn't send the video. But I made sure Chloe was at the club that night. I knew she'd tell you. You set him up? I didn't put the stripper on his lap, Audrey. I didn't pour the drinks down his throat. I just turned on the lights so you could see the cockroaches. Why? I demanded. We didn't even know each other then. Noah turned, leaning against the counter. I knew you. I've known who you were for years. We went to the same business summits. I watched you run your family's booth while Liam sat in the back playing on his phone. I watched you charm investors while he sulked. I thought, that woman is a queen carrying a peasant. He took a step toward me. When I heard my family needed a merger, I told my father I wanted the Auden family. I wanted you, but you were engaged to that idiot. So, I waited. I investigated. And when I found out he was stepping out on you, I just made sure you found out before you signed the marriage license. I stared at him. It was manipulative. It was cold. It was calculating. And it was exactly the kind of ruthless competence I had always covered for Liam to simulate. You manipulated my life, I whispered. I accelerated the inevitable, Noah said intensely. You would have cheated eventually. Maybe 5 years in, with 2 kids. I saved you the time. He put his glass down and stood in front of me, vulnerable for the first time. I'm not a good man, Audrey. I'm selfish. I wanted you, so I took the opportunity. If you want to leave, the prenup has a clause. You get the house. You get the shares. You can walk away rich. I looked at the photos of Liam, the man who blamed me for his failures. Then I looked at Noah, the man who had orchestrated a corporate takeover of my heart, but who had never once lied to me about who he was. You bought his company? I asked, pointing to the file. I'm closing the deal tomorrow. I'm firing him, by the way, unless you want me to keep him on as a janitor. A laugh bubbled up in my throat. It was dark and surprised me. No, I said. Fire him. Noah's shoulders relaxed. He reached out, his fingers grazing my cheek. Are you angry? I should be, I said, leaning into his touch. But honestly, I'm just impressed. Noah kissed me then. It wasn't the polite, respectful kiss of our wedding day. It was possessive, hungry, and real. A year later, I stood in front of the mirror. This time, the dress was different. It wasn't the poofy princess tulle Liam had insisted on. You look cute in it, he'd said, ignoring that I hated tulle. It was sleek silk, elegant and timeless. You look breathtaking, my mother said, crying again. We were renewing our vows. A real wedding this time. Not a merger signing. The ceremony was in a vineyard in Tuscany. The air smelled of rosemary and sun-baked earth. As I walked down the aisle, I saw Noah. He was looking at me like I was the only person in the world. Not a habit. Not a safety net. But a partner. After the ceremony, during the reception, a guest approached me. It was Chloe. You look happy, she said, handing me a glass of champagne. I am, I smiled. How is everyone back home? Chloe knew who I meant. Skylar woke up. She has permanent nerve damage. She's suing Liam for everything he has left. Which isn't much. He's working in IT support for a mid-sized firm in Ohio. He lives with his mom. I took a sip of champagne. The bitterness was gone. I hope he finds peace, I said. And I meant it. He was a chapter in a book I had finished reading. Noah appeared at my side, slipping an arm around my waist. Who finds peace? An old acquaintance, I said. Noah kissed my temple. They can have peace. We have the world. He led me onto the dance floor. The band began to play. It was the song that had been playing in the car on our first real date. I rested my head on his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. I had thought losing Liam was the end of my life. I had thought my carefully planned future had shattered. But sometimes things have to break so they can be put back together in a shape that actually fits. Happy, Noah murmured into my hair. I looked up at him, my husband, my partner, my beautiful, ruthless unicorn. Ecstatic, I said. And we danced into the night.